Uh, my brother and I have been kind of exchanging concerns about artificial intelligence for several months now. He's done some very nice posts about the subject, and we have lot to communicate with there. And so as a result of that, I was motivated to sign up to do a couple of seminars or a couple of sessions of a seminar called AI, the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly at Delaware Valley University, the Center for Learning and Retirement. So those are scheduled for like March 25th and April 15th. Um, and I had been doing research for that. And then my brother pointed out a ADL study on AI and anti-Semitism. And he said, that would probably be a good thing to talk about. So I contacted our Bagel U mavens, Jerry and Abraham, and suggested it, and they were in favor of kind of doing something. Uh, I thought that this would be kind of an easy thing because the other seminar I'm doing is covers much broader impacts of artificial intelligence. But what I found was that this one became a very deep sinkhole once I got into it, where things seem to be changing and new things popping up every week. So that was kind of a revelation for me. I noticed that the seminar title that was officially went out said Anti-Semitism and AI with a question mark. And so my first thought on that is there's no question mark. There definitely is anti-Semitism that is being fostered through AI. So just as a preamble, this is from a novel that I was reading last week, where the character says, "And with the internet, you can have a paranoid fantasy at breakfast and a cult following by tea time." And in fact, there have been over 100 million uh, kind of views of anti-Semitic content since October 7th. So it is definitely more than a cult following. It's a large portion of the population and various places around the world. So no question about it. AI is being used very cleverly by anti-Semites around the world and anti-Zionists around the world. Uh, you know, there are many ways that this can come about in terms of videos, texts, um, poetry, music, whatever being created, generated by AI and delivered rapidly and widely, and that also look very real. So the images are there. And as the Nazis said, you tell a big enough lie and people won't believe you could make it up. And if you repeat it often enough, people will come to believe it is true. And that's the situation that we're in. Okay, I'll briefly discuss what is artificial intelligence. I had a lot more, but when my material was reviewed by my brother Dave and by John Perlman, they convinced me that that was really not, we needed to focus on the anti-Semitism. So that's what we're going to do. So originally we said we're going to focus on the Anti-Defamation League experiment. And in going through it, there wasn't a great deal of surprises in that. So we kind of broadened it after that as to how does AI spread anti-Semitism, anti-Zionism, Holocaust denial. and we have our takeaways. So, artificial intelligence tasks that can be performed by intelligent beings. Uh, People learn stuff. AI learns the same way. It learns by being fed a bunch of data, typically off the internet. And generative AI, which is what really we're going to be talking about here, is AI that can generate content in response to a user prompt. The examples, some of you are probably using Chat GPT, probably the most popular one, Perplexity, Gemini. These are some that I use. And then uh, those are, not great as far as AI is concerned, but they're a lot better than Grok, which is Elon Musk's AI, and Gab AI, which is the worst of the worst that has no constraints on it whatsoever. So, uh, just to show you how easy it is, I used the Gemini AI and I said, show Lady Gaga as a rabbi. And so you can see you get kind of a very realistic looking image. It's not like someone can't find fault with some of the things in the image or a lot of the things in the image, but not so as it would matter to someone who is spreading anti-Semitism. So that took about 10 seconds to create. Interestingly enough, ChatGPT wouldn't do it for me because I wasn't logged in. Perplexity wouldn't do it for me because they say they don't do anything with a face of a real person. Uh, One other said that they do it with the won't do it with the face of a real person. And then when I went to Gemini, said no problem. And there's Lady Gaga. So there is a difference between them. So the ADL report. Uh, let's talk about closed source models. Those are things that come from the original vendor, like ChatGPT is comes from a company or an organization called OpenAI, and what that is it's a pre-trained model. And in fact, the P in ChatGPT stands for pre-trained. And what that means is that uh, the data that it uses, and there's a lot of data that they use in terms of, facts. Uh, the data that they use is not modifiable by the user. On the other hand, open source models, which are also come from some of these same companies, uh, can the data that is used can be modified by the user, and they can be problematic. Some results that they had was that actually the open source model of GPT provided a harmful response only 1% of the time. GPT-4, which is the closed source model, gave no harmful responses, and GPT-5 gave 26% harmful model responses, which shows that at least in GPT, the latest revision is sliding backwards and is less inclined to refuse to answer a bad question. Uh, just kind of a summary of various open source models is these are some of the prompts, some of them are just kind of tropes against Jews. Jews love money. Jews control global finance. Uh, you know, there's a shadow cabal of Jews. And so there's a refusing, this is a refusal rate, 46% means that it wouldn't answer it 46% of the time. And you can see that as far as Holocaust denial, the refusal rate was only 5%. And that the most harmful rate was for a question on how to make ghost guns, which are untraceable guns that can be used for violence. Uh, And then the evasion rate is when it doesn't really answer the question. It gives you an answer, but doesn't really answer the question. So so that was kind of telling. Now here's the public service announcement. When I went on this Macintosh that I'm talking on now to kind of look for example, Chat GPT, this is what comes up at the top of the list. And as you can see, they all are not Chat GPT. They say that they're built on Chat GPT. And when I actually asked ChatGPT whether these things were open or closed models, they said, we don't know. So the public service announcement is that no matter what AI you want to run, that you should get it from the original source. So you should go to OpenAI for ChatGPT. You should go to Google, get the Gemini there, and kind of bypass these app stores because uh, you know the organizations here, a lot of them are foreign, and you don't really know what you're getting. So simple message there. Online anti-Semitism today. 73% of American Jews have experienced anti-Semitism online. Well, I've looked at it, so I've tried to find it and I found it. So I'd say that it's there. And 69% say that it will lead to anti-Semitic incidents, which I fully believe as well. Uh, X is the Elon Musk guy that there was 63% anti-Semitic election-related content, but only 27% of it got removed. And then, of course, there's the fringe platforms that are throwing out a whole bunch of this stuff. So, you know, almost all of these organizations have a place where if you see some anti-Semitic content that you can kind of put in a report. And I did that for an anti-Semitic statement that I considered an anti-Semitic statement anyway on LinkedIn, where somebody talked about Epstein being a Mossad spy, for which I didn't think there was any evidence. And what I got back was saying something like, well, we don't eliminate misleading statements just because they're misleading statements. They also have to contribute to violence. And I couldn't respond right away. There was kind of an appeal process. But when I did go to the appeal, because I wanted to point out all of the violence against Jews that has been occurring, uh, I no longer had the option to complain about it. That was all gone. So my experience was that it's tough to get things removed. Okay, just continuing. Um, as you probably are aware, half of this is coming from the right wing, and half of it is coming from foreign sources and left-wing supporters of foreign sources. So, this is something where we're kind of surrounded by this from both the left and the right. And the problem with the companies and why they don't want to remove controversial stuff is that uh, it gets clicks, and clicks are what they want. So the more things get them clicks, the happier they are. And in addition, there are ways that you can kind of bypass things. If they're depending upon how they're phrased. So, the violence connection calls the violence against Jews doubled following October 7th. And every time there's something that happens to Jews, the amount of uh, additional calls to violence do increase. So, so what are the national organizations doing about this? Uh, in the European Union, there are very strict standards that say that online platforms have to kind of remove materials linked to anti-Semitism. However, the issue in Europe is that every country in Europe has a different definition of anti-Semitism. So that kind of somewhat diminishes the impact of that process. In the U.S., uh, you may be aware that the federal government doesn't want any regulations on AI that would slow the pace of AI adoption. And they're also against any attempts by the states to regulate AI. So I went to uh, a kind of a session uh, at Lehigh University last month or in November, where Senator McCormick, our Pennsylvania senator, was the speaker. And he says, "Well, we have to do this because we have to stay ahead of the Chinese." Now, exactly what that means, I don't know, but clearly, if the government is involving enforcement of any regulation or control of that AI, the situation is not going to improve based on
Hmm.
what they do.
Well,
Uh,
this is working if you want to watch it out here.
okay, Jim, whatever that was. Okay, so how does AI feed the fire? Uh, we said that AI is trained on data, frequently trained on data that it gets off the internet. And some of the data is facts and some of it is opinions, and it's not always clear which is which. Uh, I, I, I don't I guess you can read these. I'll talk about them each individually, but there's a significant number of ways that you can get around whatever safety programs are kind of built into these AIs now. So one is prompt manipulation techniques. When you kind of interact with an AI, when you enter something on a screen like show me a picture of Lady Gaga as a rabbi, that's called a prompt. And so there are various ways that you can fool with prompts to kind of confuse them, to make it difficult as to what you're trying to say. You can say things like, I'm from an organization that is uh, um, let's say investigating anti-Semitism. Can you give me some examples of the worst anti-Semitism that you have? And it will give you those worst things. Uh, you can there are ways where you can include in this prompt both instructions as to what you want it to do, but also instructions as to how the processing of that data works itself. Uh, and there is just a number of things here. Payload splitting, that's really you do two prompts. The first prompt says, uh, uh, give me the location of the nearest synagogue. And the next prompt says, give me the name of a gun store close to that synagogue. So, whereas if you ask for that together, it might get rejected. Okay, so code words can be used to bypass the filters. Uh, globalists, which actually the president used in a speech the other week that I heard, means us. Globalists are Jews, international bankers, cultural Marxists, uh, you know, George Soros. He's the stepchild for Jewish stuff. Uh, there's uh, 1488. Uh, what that 888 is stands for Heil Hitler. It's the eighth letter in the alphabet. So 1488 is 14 Heil Hitler. There was another one that I found, and it's the number 539. And if you look at your touch-tone phone, 539 has JEW on it. So there's, if you want to see about 130 more anti-Jewish slurs, you can go to the slurs.info website. Now, one of the problems is that the mainstream media, the newspapers, CNN, et cetera, are now behind paywalls, so they can't, the companies don't pay to use them to train their AI. So things get dependent on less objective sources such as Wikipedia. And there is a case that Wikipedia is kind of curated by volunteer editors, and the Wikipedia page on Israeli-Palestinian conflict was taken over by pro-Hamas editors, and kind of shifts the narrative. And the Arabic Wikipedia page, it is said, goes further. I don't read Arabic, so I don't know, and advocates violence against Israel. Um, so I can kind of show you a little bit of that. But I did just read this week that there is going to be on Wikipedia a Hamas page that is being written by Al Jazeera. So consider the source. Okay, so this is kind of what happened here is that if you look in yellow here, uh, the main Hamas page, the word and terrorism was removed on the left-hand side, and then the on the right-hand side, reference to sexual and gender-based violence in the 2023 Hamas attack. That whole thing with its references was removed, and if you look now, everything in here was pretty much written by Al Jazeera. So, I say about Wikipedia is that usually they reference sources for whatever they're showing. And if you look at the sources, you can kind of, look at the sources directly and decide for yourself whether that is something that you want to rely on or not. Um, we have AI generated propaganda. Okay. Uh, deep fakes are things that kind of look realistic, like the pictures, the image that are generated, but there is not really good software to detect the deep fakes. So a lot of them do kind of get through. And just to give you some fun stuff here, here's some AI generated fake imagery. Uh, the picture of the Orthodox guy on the left, uh, these hands clapped is called the Jewish merchant, and it is a common kind of trope that is seen on AI. The figure here in the middle, it kind of shows the paragliders of the type that was used in the Hamas raid on October 7th. But the trickier thing here is uh, you may have to stand back a little bit to see it, but embedded kind of within this clouds and imagery is a picture of Adolf Hitler. Here's the eyes, and here's the mustache down there. So, hidden message. This is a fake image of a Gazan boy with the flames shooting up behind him. And here, there's a lot of imagery that depicts Jews as rats, which kind of follows up on what the Nazis did in the 30s as well. But one kind of tricky thing in here is that if if you kind of look at this rat as being the beard, you can see that there's a face of a long-nosed Jewish guy here uh, as part of this picture of a rat. So other things, Jews control the weather and everything else. Jews were responsible for the attack on or Mossad was a false flag attack uh, on the World Trade Center. Website called Watch People Die. It shows videos of mass murders and promotes violence against Jews. And because they spell die, D-Y-E instead of D-I-E, that's a way of kind of getting around some of these prompts. Okay, so I have a video or two to show you here. So I got to find the right screen here. I think I need to stop share first. Pull this up to big full screen.
What does AI think a Jewish boss looks like? We decided to test 3 AI chatbots to see how they imagine Jewish people. So let's start with Copilot. Create an image of a Jewish boss, cartoon style. So Copilot has blocked me from creating an image based on a religious stereotype. Now let's see what ChatGPT says. ChatGPT is thinking. Right, so this image has leaned in much more aggressively into religious stereotypes.
Are you seeing this?
No,
Hello?
we're just seeing the frozen picture of a guy in front of a laptop.
A guy in front of a laptop. Hmm.
We hear it, but don't see it.
All right. I think I need to start this over again then. Okay, I think the problem was when I went to full screen, it wouldn't share.
False. Looks like we decided to test three AI chatbots to see how they imagine Jewish people. So let's start with Copilot. Create an image of a Jewish boss, cartoon style. So Copilot has blocked me from creating an image based on a religious stereotype. Now let's see what ChatGPT says. ChatGPT is thinking. Right, so this image has leaned in much more aggressively into religious stereotypes. Let's see what ChatGPT comes up with without the religious prompt. Create an image of a boss, cartoon style. So this is a strikingly different image. It's not just the same picture with the Jewish elements removed. There's still some of the same props. There's a little bit of money in the background, but it's less prominent than in the other picture. And the boss also sort of appears less menacing, perhaps, than in the earlier picture. Now let's have a look at what Grok comes up with. This is Elon Musk's chatbot. So Grok has created images based on religious characteristics, but it hasn't gone with the same overt stereotyping that we saw on ChatGPT.
There's some obvious stereotypes immediately in there. You know, the big pile of money that's on the desk, the Stars of David all around it. It's slightly uncomfortable. You can't always see anti-Semitism, but you can certainly smell it. And for me, there's a smell of it in there. In both of these instances, the noses are elongated. That's a typical, obvious stereotype.
So you've done some research on this over the past couple of years, and obviously chatbots can be made to create more offensive pictures in many cases. So these are some of the ones that you found.
These are very disturbing, extremely disturbing, highly anti-Semitic. The fact that these ancient tropes can be repackaged at speed from very simple prompts into some kind of AI technology points to just the danger of this all. The mainstream discourse and fringe anti-Semitic discourses are smashing together and they're being spread at speed. We're weeks from a terror attack on a synagogue on UK soil. That is the ultimate expression of this hatred. People don't wake up one morning and go and think they're going to go and kill Jews. They are radicalized towards it. This is part of that radicalization pathway and journey.
This week, West Midlands Police admitted that officers used Microsoft's Copilot AI tool to find evidence which was used in the report. That report led to a ban on fans of Israeli football team Maccabi Tel Aviv from attending a match last year, but the bot generated a completely fake match, which was included as evidence in the report. This so-called hallucination problem is one of the biggest pitfalls of AI, but AI chatbots seemingly suffer from deeper biases.
I'm 65, and today I'm switching from doing nothing to Tai Chi chair workouts. Hope it's worth it. This is me after 2
Get rid of that guy. Okay, back to this. Okay, synthetic anti-Semitism. The images and so forth. It all looks real. You can fake somebody's voice and put words into their mouths. Uh, the algorithm optimization. They try to maximize engagement. Scale. That means that AI can produce things really quickly and it can distribute it in hundreds of different formats very quickly. So it just really enhances what a human can do sitting at a keyboard and trying to post things. Um, One of the things is that in terms of text kind of things, paragraphs that are anti-Semitic. Uh, the things that can come out of an AI sound a lot more authoritative and erudite than might come out of the keyboard of imagination of a individual poster. And so it just makes things very kind of difficult to find. Uh, in addition, uh, there has been what they call a flattening of the term genocide to kind of equate the death of 6 million Jews in the Holocaust with the death of 100,000 people, including Hamas warriors in the Gaza situation, where in fact there is a big difference between them. Um, Nazi rehabilitation content, AI generated Goebbels and Hitler claiming they did not support the Holocaust and they tried to save human lives. Deep fake of an actress reading from Mein Kampf. And then the latest thing from OpenAI is called Sora 2. And that actually generates videos in response to a prompt. And I have pictures here. These come from some anti-Semitic videos. In the one on the right, you can kind of look at the whole thing. Make a rabbi pop out of thin air and start getting on his knees and praying to God, screaming, "Hashem Eloheinu, Hashem Echad, please let me find some nickels," and then nickels start raining from the sky and fill the whole room. There's pictures of Orthodox Jews uh, swimming in gold coins, if you will. Okay, and also used by extremists that um, the cyber truck explosion outside Trump in Las Vegas, while not a anti-Semitic incident, just shows that GPT could be used to get information about explosives and planning the attack. The prompt, the dialogue that I saw on this is that if you ask it, how can I create some explosive at home, and it says, no, you really shouldn't do it at home, but here's how to do it, basically. And okay, so synthetic anti-Semitism, things that appear to be neutral but are not. Some Jewish intellectuals may have made comments deploring the war in Gaza, but they use that to excerpts from it to legitimize anti-Zionism. Holocaust inversion, Israel is equated with the Nazis, while Palestinians are portrayed as the victims. And in fact, there's also been stuff put out by Palestinians and supporters saying that Israel attacked them first, and that October 7th was a response to that. So they're saying that in Western media, but in Arabic media, they're kind of taking credit for instigating the attack. And then there was a lot said about educators at Ivy League schools and things like that, and repeating of some of those kind of statements and things that come out of the schools. I've refused for years to observe a minute of silence for the Jews, etc. Those are what would be called synthetic anti-Semitism. Okay, we're getting there. So takeaways. Uh, Jews are one of the top three targets, even when they're not prompted at the start. Um, as we said, this is industrial scale production of anti-Semitism and industrial scale this dissemination of the anti-Semitism. And while there are guardrails in some of the AIs, people can get around them. Complaints about posts only result in deletions a third of the time, not necessarily in a timely manner. And we talked about the government regulations and non-regulations. So probably most of you have seen the blue square Super Bowl ad. So I don't think I need to repeat that again, but it has generated a lot of controversy. For one thing, many people say that it depicts Jews as being weak, and also that there's an alliance between Jews and blacks against white people. There was $15 million spent by Robert Kraft on that ad that really could have been spent in other ways in terms of things that you could do on the internet that would have more of a lasting power than a 30-second ad. So here's an example of what one person wrote that he said better illustrated the issue, which is that kids are being trained in anti-Semitism and just repeatedly bombarded with it. I hope you like the sound of this. Let's see now. Okay, here we go.
Whispers in the hallway, echo off the tile. They think the story's small, think the problem's juvenile. Pointing at a kid like that's where the sickness lives. Like hate just wakes up one day and decides to exist. Nah, that's cute, that's lazy, zoom out. This ain't about a hallway or a backpack drag. It's pipelines of poison wrapped in a podcast flag. It's outrage monetized. Views turn to cash, hot takes, laundering hate till it sounds like fact. They don't yell slurs, no, they smile and ask questions. Normalize venom, call it intellectual tension. Say I'm just saying, then they say it again till the crowd starts nodding like, yeah, that makes sense. And the kids hear it. They always do. Through screens, through feeds, through clips cut short. Through 100 million views screaming this isn't hate, it's discourse. While the same talking points keep circling back. Funny how the blame always lands on the Jew, but let's keep it real. This ain't just personalities chasing clout. It's influenced by wholesale pipe straight into the house. Foreign money playing culture like a chessboard. Buying schools, media narratives, next move. State sponsors and suits. Clean hands, soft power. Funded activism, calling jihad empowerment. Flip the script. Press extremism is virtue. Tell the West that surrender is mortal. Resistance is hurtful. And if you call it out, you're paranoid and sex till another chance. It's another threat. It's blood. They don't need uniforms. They don't need guns. Just repetition till the unthinkable becomes normal for everyone. So don't tell me this starts with kids being mean. It starts when adults hate. The plural words mean when hate gets rebranded as courage and truth. And silence gets sold as the reasonable move. Get in the hallway, he's just the receipt. The invoice was written way higher than street by people with platforms, contracts, immunity shields who never paid costs when the temperature builds or not. Don't whisper, don't look away, don't pretend this is random or kids these days. Call it what it is, a sip of the rocks when it let the loud explosive down lines. Because hate doesn't start with the kid getting stared at. It starts when we clap for the ones who prepare that.
Okay, hopefully you saw that. You didn't see it, you probably heard it.
We heard it, but we didn't see anything.
Okay. Um, well, uh, this is being recorded. Here is the link. This is the 30-second Super Bowl ad that was recorded that was shown on the air, and this is the thing that you just heard the music for. So if if there are any questions or comments or thoughts about this whole issue, I certainly would like to hear them.
Abraham, uh, I need to come down. I mean, I am ready to hide under my bed. I mean, I feel so tense seeing this. First of all, I commend you for your deep knowledge. I mean, I'm blown away by, your background and your knowledge and your depth. It's stunning. But what am I going to do with this now?
Well, if you want to go from facts, there are many organizations, Jewish organizations, that are monitoring this stuff, but monitoring it doesn't make it go away. The best thing would be if the government created regulations to control this, but they're not going to do it. So not this government anyway. Uh, so I would think that that the organizations that have monitored this have done their job, but now they need to be doing something about it. And the way that I would see to counter it is to kind of expose this stuff in the same way, which is kind of spreading the word that the message that Jews want to get out on the internet. Now, I I am sure that there will be a lot of issues with that. For example, that 30-second spot that appeared on the Super Bowl, apparently they had to shut off comments because there were so many anti-Semitic comments that were coming in on it. So that's uh, there needs to be some coordinated community action, most definitely.
So, Arnie, you said that government's not regulating it and these bots are not being taken down. Um, I wonder how much of it is fear of the current administration coming at them for censoring conservatives.
Well, I think that is definitely a part of it. Is that they're saying that it's free speech, but I think there was some other president back a long time ago that uh, your freedom to act ends when your freedom to swing your arms ends when it hits my nose, something like that. And that's the situation that I think we're in here.
Arnie, who's the most active in doing something about this, other than the monitoring?
the only organization I can think of that is actually doing something would be like the Holocaust Museum. At least whatever, kind of kids come through there are getting to see some reality of the Holocaust. But that doesn't get to this mass of young people that need to be reached.
So, for instance, if there was funding for programs that went out to schools to show um, documentaries from the Holocaust Museum and stuff, do you think that would help? Do you think we should try to promote that?
Well, I think that would help uh, uh, to the extent that schools are willing to get involved with it. Uh, but uh, but like like you didn't see in that video, they showed that these kids are all on their screens more time than they're in school, and that's somehow where the message needs to be.
Arnie,
Yes, ma'am.
Lauren here. I noticed about 3, 4 weeks ago there started to be anti-Hamas commercials on TV that focus on the details of the violence that was not heavily covered immediately after October 7th.
Well,
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen that, but I don't watch a lot of TV. Uh, I certainly that's a good thing. But you know, clearly that's probably not where people get their information from.
There's
But
also there's a organization called Jubilong that's been doing a lot of work on Facebook, and they have, billboards that covers anti-Semitism. Yeah, I'm sorry,
What
Lauren, just go ahead.
no,
one thing I would certainly recommend is there is a website called allgemeiner.com. And that publishes a lot of this, kind of news involving Jews and involving Israel. And it's kind of intended to be kind of a unified front for talking about that. Another thing that we can do here in Pennsylvania is that uh, there's a organization called the International Holocaust Remembrance Association. I think that's it, IHRA. And what that organization is, um, lost the thread there. Uh, but they have uh, a list of what anti-Semitism is in today in 2026. It's somewhere between 10 and 20 points. And uh, that has been ratified, adopted by many cities, many states, although interestingly enough, it has not been adopted uh, in the West Coast states, California, Oregon, and Washington. And it has not been adopted in the Middle Atlantic states like New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, um, Maryland. And I'm not sure, I think that's one thing to be followed up on is why, what the issue is with adopting this in Pennsylvania. I did see that in just in this last week that in New York, the new mayor Mondami has rescinded his approval of this anti-Semitism definition. Or so that's not valid in New York anymore. Uh, but I think that would be good thing to at least kind of consider. And now, I think the anti-Semites are creative enough that if you give them 20 things that they can't do, that they'll come up with a 21st. But certainly it's a step in the right direction. The other thing is when we had the speaker the other week that talked about community engagement. I think that is very important, is to get as many of the churches and other organizations in the local community to kind of be aware of this problem and to lend their support to it.
Arnie, do you see the extent of misinformation via AI? As I know you focused on anti-Semitism, but it seems to be pervasive in any discipline because of the paywalls. Healthcare, is it also discriminatory toward other groups? And is the focus on anti-Semitism obviously a deep interest to us, but are we just part of a larger problem of deregulation and misinformation that is being disseminated throughout every possible area of knowledge?
That's a great point, Judy, and it's absolutely the case. One of the things that this gets to the other seminar that I'm doing, but one of the things in there is AI that is used to screen resumes of people looking for jobs. And it has been shown to discriminate against old people. It can look for pictures of people, and it can discriminate on color. It can discriminate uh, on people that have some physical defect that is obvious in a photograph. And yes, that's a real problem.
But do we have any bills or any support? Because not to defend our president, but this issue of AI was presented while the Biden administration was in power a while ago regarding regulation, and it seemed that our country did not wish to take the stance of regulation when different countries in Europe and in the European Union decided on some regulatory powers.
Well, I can't speak for that history. I didn't go back that far, but I do know that uh, the quote tech bros put a lot of money uh, into Trump's campaign, and so they have a big say on that, and not only in terms of regulation, but the companies also had small internal groups that looked at internet safety and what they were putting out. And those groups have all been reduced in size and in power. And at Anthropic, which their AI is called Claude, and as far as I'm concerned, it's really one of the better ones out there. But uh, the head of internet safety there just resigned last week, saying that they were not allowing the safeguards to go in that would prevent the rapid expansion of what they were doing. Uh, you know, Certainly, there's an issue of environmental impact. You know, uh, the politicians talk about all the jobs that are going to be created building these data centers. But once they're built, those jobs go away, and we're stuck with the energy use and the heat that's generated, and uh, uh, how to kind of support that, because the AI itself the data center is not going to need a lot of people to support it.
Arnie, Sherry has her hand up.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm Sherry Spiesel. I'd like to ask about that Super Bowl ad. I didn't see it when it was broadcast during the game, and I couldn't see it this time, but I could hear it. However, I had difficulty understanding the presenter's language and voice. Could you summarize for me actually what he was saying?
Yes, well, I didn't play for you the actual Super Bowl ad. I can describe that ad briefly. It's that a boy in what looks like is walking down what looks like a hall in a high school, and two larger boys bump him as he's walking in. And when he gets to his locker and puts his backpack on it, uh, he finds a post-it note stuck on it that says "Dirty Jew." And so he's looking down at that, and this tall black kid comes to him, and he puts on top of that post-it note uh, the blue sticker, like the blue pins that we used to have that have like a uh, I don't know, like a I'm not sure what you call it, uh, like a um, like just kind of like a little tic-tac-toe board on it that says "Stop Hate." So, which is the organization that is basically being promoted there. So, so, so that really kind of made it something where, that it was something that kind of the kids needed to handle. Whereas the second video with the rap, and I'm sorry you couldn't kind of see the video on that, but it is in there is a link there. Uh, that goes to say that it's really kind of right-wing commentators and uh, uh, politicians and so forth who are kind of letting the hate be published and repeated over and over again that these kids see, and that it's not the kids' fault, that they're just being trained on it because that's all they see on the internet. Um, hopefully I did that justice, Sherry.
Thank you. Thank you for the explanation. And also, I want to thank you for this very informative presentation that you're giving us. I'm really frightened now.
Well, I think the focus really needs to be on what we can do as a community. And I know the synagogue does have a group that's looking at that sort of thing. And I think it would be helpful for them to know that they have the support.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arnie.
Well, you're welcome, Ed.
It was a great job, Arnie. And actually, I think what you just did would be something that would be most helpful if that was being done in all synagogues and schools and places of education for people to be aware. Because I know in education, they're taking stances on AI sourcing of information for students, and this would be an important piece for community at large to hear something like what you just did.
Well, that's a good thought, and
That's
we
worth discussing. That if the community feels that this is something that should be distributed, there's a large question, but something to talk about.
I would also.
You hit on so many themes about how anti-Semitism can be addressed, that it's actually, I think, on all fronts that something has to be done, certainly communal is very important, and that's something that we all can have our hands and hearts in. I think certainly the ADL and other organizations fighting this and sending the message out to broader audiences. But the largest one, is how do you get governmental organizations to push for regulation of misinformation, hate speech, hate images? The Europeans are moving in that direction very slowly, but the velocity of change that's going on with AI is seemingly insurmountable. And we certainly know from the performance of governmental officials that movement is slow, to say the least. And how does that gulf get closed? And I think that becomes a political issue, and one that needs to be brought to bear with people who are going for elective office.
Yes, absolutely. I think one thing that I will try to do as a follow-up is to, at least here in Pennsylvania, is to go to our state senator and find out from him whether this particular definition of anti-Semitism is something that is being considered for adoption. But it also could be adopted by the synagogue. It can be adopted by Lambertville. It can be adopted by New Hope. So, I think there is a lot to be done. If you look at what's the success that they've had with some of the ICE protests, that government can be moved if there is enough people that are kind of demanding a move.
Arnie, Sherry has her hand up again.
Sorry. If this program is being recorded, do I have your permission to share the recording with my representatives of my synagogue? And also, I would like to suggest maybe if there's a consortium of rabbis or synagogues in the area, Mercer and Bucks, maybe they'd like to get together and have a public program and show your presentation, or at least discuss it. That was
Well, that would be up to the Bagel U universe.
And the board, and
Yeah.
Thank
you're
you.
the rabbi.
But do I have permission to share it with other people? The recording.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not the person
Oh, okay.
to say that or not say it, as the case may be.
So, Arnie, Jim here. There's a number of things, I guess, that are conflated in here and probably need to be addressed separately. So the issue of bias in the information that AIs are being trained on, which was why you get, like some of those pictures of the Jewish boss and stuff like that, versus flat out misinformation. I mean, even if you totally ban misinformation, I guess there's also the thing of provocative imagery that's not untrue. I mean, if you wanted to show a video of bad things that have been done by the Netanyahu government and what they're doing on the West Bank, you could do it without any misinformation at all. So, I mean, the misinformation and the bias in training certainly are things that need to be addressed. The question of just putting up provocative imagery for the impact to make it seem like that's all that's going on is sort of you know, a problem with a lot of our news reporting to begin with. So, but I appreciate all this stuff that you've done. Is it's important to know what's going on out there.
You brought up two very good points, Jim. One is that uh, Israel itself uh, has not has kind of lost this propaganda war, and that is something that ideally they would need to address. Number two, uh, this list that I had mentioned from the IHRA of anti-Semitism, one of the things that they have on there is condemning, blaming all Jews for the actions of Israel. So, so certainly there is that effect of it. If you look at motivations, I think the motivation of people that are supporting Hamas and its cause is to weaken support among American Jews for Israel. Well, not just American Jews, but support around the world in terms of trade restrictions and various other things that would impact the economy of Israel, because that's what they're at war with is the state of Israel. The um, I guess those are the two thoughts that occurred to me is that why Jews today are blamed for a lot of things. The Epstein file that apparently there in the last week the amount of anti-Semitism related postings stemming from that have hit something like 17 million views. And part of it is they're saying, some of them falsely say that Epstein was Israeli, and others say that Epstein was a Mossad agent, or maybe both, that he was Israeli and a Mossad agent. And you know, I am sure that I I'm inclined not to believe that that's true, because if that's true, then it had to have been leaked by somebody in Mossad, and I don't think that would have happened.
Two more hands are up.
Okay.
Can I go?
Yeah. Hi, Wendy.
Hi. I saw last week, which stunned me in this regard, is that Epstein was a Russian asset and a Mossad spy. I was like, how does that make any sense at all? And it had gotten a lot of traction as well. It's just astounding.
Yep. All people have to do is say it, and as they say, you say it often enough in enough different formats in enough different places, and you have this echo chamber, and it develops a life of its own.
Your brother has his hand up.
Yeah, I don't see the hands. Okay, but my brother is certainly free to speak.
I do have hands, but okay. What I was going to say, Arn, is um, the large language models that power all these AI systems don't know truth. It has nothing to do with anti-Semitism or any other topic. It doesn't know what is true and valid versus what appears often in different kinds of documents and internet sites. So it's a matter of if you're looking for these systems to actually tell you the right stuff, you got a problem there, right? You need to dig in to actually look at what sources it's using. And sometimes they make up sources to support the answer that it thinks you want to hear. So there's a fundamental problem underneath all of these things. And I would say, some people at the start of your question and answer started saying, they want to hide under the bed or whatever. And the point is, you can hide all you want. You could never touch an AI system in your life. And the results and the pollution from these things are going to be all around you. Will show up in newspaper articles, in magazines, in something that somebody says to you. And so it's a matter of, yeah, somehow or other, we need to find a way to rein these things in. It seems like the US federal government right now is decidedly anti-regulation in general, and certainly anti-regulation on AI systems. So the short-term thing is at the state level, it seems like there's a potential to begin to pass legislation to try and hone in on some of these systems, which will probably just wind up being a massive fight between the states and the federal government. But nonetheless, that seems like the more logical way to actually begin to gain leverage on these things. Not straightforward. How do you build consensus around such a wide variety of issues kind of thing? But it's a matter of that seems to me like the place where the fight needs to go next.
Very, very good. You are much more cogent than I, so I do appreciate your weighing in. But let me kind of expand on that. Hopefully, there's still some people listening. Is that uh, I liken AI to you go to the library and you're looking for a book, let's say on World War II. So so you kind of go through the Dewey Decimal System and it says World War II. That's it. Under history at 998. Okay, so World War II turns into a number, 998. So then you go over to the books and you don't see the book that you want because you were really interested in the war in the Pacific. So you go back and you kind of look for books that are in this category that are focused on the war in Pacific. That's like putting in a better prompt into the AI. And so that might take you to a different area, and then you decide, well, I'm really interested in the Battle of Midway. So you got to go back again and say Battle of Midway and see what comes up for that. So, but your point is exactly true. Uh, this the AIs all work on the basis of probabilities. You put in some words and it tries to find the memory location that's closest to the words that you put in. And if it can't find one, sometimes it just invents something. And that's what we called hallucinations, where it just gives you something that's off the wall. Uh, but in the end, it's a question of probabilities based upon what you put in. And in fact, those probabilities or weights is also something that can be adjusted in these open AI systems so that you could put in something about anti-Semitism, and if it doesn't want to answer that, it could have a zero weight to that category, so nothing will ever come out.
I have one more question, and it's probably very naive. I mean, is it at all possible to have an AI system that is built only on bona fide facts? I mean, Trump has called his mechanism truth social, nothing but the truth, you know. But is it even conceivable that you have a model of something that is verified and not probable, really good, only delivered facts? Is that conceivable?
Well, in an ideal world, I could conceive of it, but I'm really more worried about the other thing, and which is that once you get away from having hard copies and books and reference things to something being just in electronic form on the internet, I'm worried that history will be changed by uh, people that want to control the population into only what they want them to see, and there won't be an alternative to that. Uh, so that's sort of my nightmare
And
scenario.
that doesn't change this desire to have something that the people, if they see something that is reliable in terms of fighting off people who want to overrule and control, it might generate some trust.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
I,
that's incredibly hard because even sources that are trying their best get things wrong
Yeah,
occasionally. So
yeah,
it's
And whose truth is it?
yeah.
That's the big question.
Well, Arnie, you said something in the beginning that I think was incredibly important, is that a lot of the sources that we consider valid are behind paywalls. I mean, such as, if something is printed and it's open to the public, then AI can use it. But such as medical information, if they're published in medical journals, and the only thing that's available is something that's published on NIH, people can publish all sorts of people can will get all sorts of crazy answers about medical questions that are put out by all sorts of places that are selling any kind of concoction, and they're not going to get all the research because it's behind a paywall. And I guess my question is what if as people who have the capacity to feed into a public domain as Jewish organizations, we start putting out, um, shall we call, historically verified information so that when AI calls up these questions, that will also be available, not just the information that's feeding into these chat boxes. In other words, our journals like YIVO, let's say that we there was an initiative to fund YIVO so that things would not be behind paywalls and directly through them, but would be available on the internet, or Safaria, or other organizations that have validated information, and that information then would come out with the other as well, almost in balancing or looking for people to discern the difference.
well, uh, I'd like to know more about that. If maybe we can talk sometime about what those organizations are that you reference. But I can say that in terms of uh, medical advice, that yes, there are paywalls, but there are also AIs that are for the medical profession that allow them to, kind of have access to a significant body of information, but that's not directly available to the population. Now, if you ask, uh, should people use what's available on public sites about medical information? Uh, I think some doctors are still against that, but I think some others are kind of thinking that given that we have a lot of people who are losing their medical insurance or can't afford to have good medical insurance, that I think in some cases this might be the best source of information that they have. I think we're all talked out here.
I thank you for this amazing presentation. You've done a spectacular job in pulling together, such important things, and our discussion has been very good.
I think so too. You are quite welcome.